I'm Ed Bernero, and I'm the executive producer of Crossing Lines. I do a show called Criminal Minds in the United States, and when I started on Criminal Minds, it's a show about the FBI. And I used to be a policeman, so I'm kind of a student of the history of policing. And when I started looking into the FBI and the history of the FBI, I realized that Europe right now is in the exact place that America was when the FBI was created. And it was created because at that time you would chase a gangster across Kansas, and if he went into Nebraska, the police would have to stop. That's what they have right now in Europe. They have an organization called Europol that can advise people, but they can't actually do anything. So I found it fascinating that Europe right now, with the Eurozone, with breaking down of the borders, is in the exact same position that the States were when they created the FBI. So I'd always been interested in doing sort of a version of the birth of the FBI through European characters. Um, and for the longest time, couldn't get anyone interested in doing it until just this past February, I met Rola Bauer from the beautiful Tandem company, and they wanted to do the same kind of show. So in the short span of about 6 months, this whole thing was put together, and we're getting ready to film our 10th episode already. It's the first time I've ever in my career been able to finish a whole season before it went on the air, and it's kind of a unique luxury to be able to, because we have sort of ongoing stories in this particular show, and it's been nice to go. Oh, it would really be nice to have something happen in episode 4 that we play at the end. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been fast and more time than I've ever had to do something. So it's been a pretty unique experience. I've been lucky to work with some pretty great executive producing partners, but none have been as supportive, just sort of openly, creatively supportive as Tandem. It's been Rola is a unique genius in what she does, and she lets me do what I want to do. So it's been a great partnership, and one I think that will continue for a long, long time. One of the things that fascinates me is the notion of people from all over the continent working together, and sort of learning that some of their stereotypes are incorrect. We have a German character who everyone is surprised to find out is funny. Just sort of like breaking down those stereotypes, and saying, when you actually work with somebody closely, you learn more about them than you might have known otherwise, which actually is also not unlike the American FBI, because when the FBI was created, people from Alabama didn't necessarily talk to people from Maine. So we had a lot of the same problems in putting the FBI together. There were people from all across the country that had to come together and work together. That's the thing that I find the most fascinating about this, and I also think that it's interesting to explore the notion of breaking down borders, and when you break down the borders, that one of the first things that happen is crime happens, and it's often an unintended consequence of opening trade and opening borders. Is criminals are basically businesses, and they're the first ones to realize, hey, this is easy. Now we don't get stopped at the border, we don't get checked as much. So hopefully those are the two aspects of the show, that it's sort of a brave new world and learning how to work with people you might not know in another context. One of the things about a police show is I believe you have to reinvent the show constantly. You just have to bring people in. It's the way it is in the police department. When I started in the district that I worked in, within 2 years, I was the oldest person in the room. There's just a constant turnover of cops. People come in and people go out. So we can do that on the show. And one of the things that we always wanted to do from the beginning is pull people from all different countries. That right now we have someone from the UK, someone from Italy, someone from Germany, someone from France, and then as the show expands and we get bigger, we'll pull. I know we're talking about a character from Holland, and then a character from Spain, and we're just going to sort of broaden the horizons. And the beauty of it is we could pick somebody from any one of the European countries to be, a member of the team. So yeah, we're definitely looking at all of those possibilities. Oh, that's a good question. It actually has a lot of structure a lot of structure in common with Criminal Minds. It's not about serial killers for one thing. It's about all a whole variety of crimes. We have in the first season there's an international team of bank robbers. There are a number of stories we would never do on Criminal Minds because Criminal Minds is about serial killers. We do 2 episodes of serial killers, but of the 10, it's only 2. So in that respect, it's freeing for me to be able to go. I can pick any kind of crime now because as cool as Criminal Minds is, you get sort of boxed in by it has to be a serial killer story. It has to be. So in that respect, it's different. It's a much wider pool of cases to choose from. The other big difference is they don't have the FBI. They're sort of disparate members of the team pulled from different police forces. We have the Italian character is a female sergeant in the army in Italy. And we have an Irish character from the police services of Northern Ireland. So they have sort of 2 masters, as it were, which is very different than Criminal Minds. There's just the FBI in Criminal Minds. It's called the ScanGen. It's based on a real advancement in law enforcement called the vertopsy, which was invented in Sweden, somewhere in Scandinavia. I can't remember where, but where it's basically the vertopsy is a virtual autopsy device where they can attach an MRI to this device that they invented, and they can do an autopsy on a body now without cutting it open, and they can show it holographically and move it around. It's very Minority Report, future movies. They're using it now for crime scenes. They put this vertopsy in the middle of a crime scene, and they take thousands and thousands of pictures, and then they can then project that crime scene anywhere, wherever they need it. They've used it in court. If you want to show the jury a diner that was shot up, you project this and they can move it around and see things in it, and they can even find evidence that they couldn't find that they didn't find the first time. So we have a version of that Sebastian, who's a tech genius, invented, and he's always sort of tinkering with it and adding infrared and having fun with it. We have what's called in the script Sebastian's lab. In the middle of this police set, there's just all of a sudden there's this lab where he is making little tiny cameras they're trying to figure out how to attach a bullet to. And here's an interesting story about Dorn. Dorn was never meant to be a big character. Dorn was initially conceived to be just sort of this kind of go-between between the team and the ICC to give them the permission to do their cases. And then Donald came aboard. And not only does that sort of make you want to see Donald more, it really sort of changed the way I looked at Dorn. And Dorn now has become a very fascinating character to me. He's a war crimes hunter for the International Criminal Court. The way it works is they sort of will try someone and then send someone out to pick them up, or indict them and send someone out to pick them up. He's that. It's I guess for all intents and purposes a bounty hunter for the International Criminal Court. But he's also very good friends with Louis, who's the leader of our team. And Louis is who went to him and asked him if he could help him do this team. But we've sort of went on this whole journey with Dorn and an international super criminal named Dimitrov, who's sort of pulling the strings on most of the crime in Europe in the first season. And we're right now shooting the 9th and 10th episodes, which kind of brings all those stories to a close. And we find out that the death of Louis' child is involved with Dimitrov. I mean, just all of these things are all sort of coming together. And it's primarily because we have this great actor playing Dorn that you just want to see Dorn more. It's the beauty of television. It's why I love television and why I'm never interested in making a movie. I just am not. Television is where you can do stuff like that. You can go, oh, isn't that interesting? Let's do that next week. Let's explore that. Let's explore this and let things find themselves. And it's one of the joys of being in television. And again, the joy of having you shoot 10 episodes and then everybody go home and you put them together in the way you want to put them together. I just am really excited for people to see it. As I said in the beginning, this is the longest I've ever gone without people seeing it, and I think we're doing something really special. I've been doing this a long time. I've made more than 300 hours of police shows, and this one is unique. It's really special. I wouldn't have thought that we could find a way to do it differently, but I'm really very excited about this. And you know, the actors that we have, they're actors from all around the world, which I think people are going to be excited to see together. It's just something different. You just don't see people with different accents all in the same room working on a case together. It's just kind of really cool. So I'm looking forward to people seeing it and it getting out there in the world.